In English, we only have one form of you. Whether you're talking to one other person or a group of 5 or more, you could mean one person or multiple, which can, and in my case, has created many awkward situations. English used to have 2 different forms of the word you. If you've read any Shakespeare, you've definitely seen this. We had thou, and thou was used to address one person, someone that you knew in a familiar sense. And you was used in a formal way, or in a way of addressing multiple people. English used to be conjugated as I, thou, the singular form of you, he, she, and they, yes, it's been singular forever, you, plural, we, and they, plural. Easy! Here's a little example to show you sort of how that might work. I had a lot of fun creating this, I hope you enjoy.
So, what thinkest thou of my father's plans to invade Normandy? The plan, methinks, will fail. Though thy father's army is strong, the Normans outnumber them 3-1. You've probably heard that the Norman army outnumbers that of our own. Some say 3-1. I say pish posh. It matters not. What is important is that you are English. We have trained you well, and you will fight harder than any Norman villain.
Hopefully that's given you a better understanding of how thou and you were used before. But why did it change? Well, like most of history's problems, it was caused by the upper class. You was not only used to address multiple people, but it was also used to address people of a higher social rank than your own. For example, if I were talking to a co-worker, then we'd address each other as thou, but we would address our boss as you. When we were all serfs, it was very easy to keep this old system, but in the 17th century, thou started to be used less and less in and around London. The world modernised more and more, and the classes intermixed more and more. People became uncertain whether to address someone in a formal or a familiar sense. And, not wishing to offend anyone, the safer you was used for everyone, and thou simply fell out of use. This is referred to as polite society by many linguists. With the loss of an informal you, we consequently lost the singular form to address someone. Now, if you're just talking to one person in English, asking if someone wants to get a drink is relatively easy, unless you're socially inept like myself. This is why I'm making videos recording myself instead of being social. You're, say, talking to your friend or someone you're attracted to, and you ask, do you want to get a drink? There's no funny business, it's plain and easy to understand. You want to get a drink with that one person. But if you're with more than one person, then only having one form of you can be a little complicated. If you're in a group and you want to ask someone if they want to get a drink one-on-one, and you say, do you want to get a drink? Your mate Darren could assume that you're talking to the group at large instead of having a quiet one-on-one drink with someone you fancy. And Darren's consequently now invited 3 or more people to come too, and you're left wondering if there was another way to phrase that question so Darren could understand that you don't mean him, without making him feel bad. You could address the person by name, I suppose. Do you want to get a drink, Lauren? Do you want to go to the movies, Jean-Luc? Do you want to go on a hike, Marine? But it seems a bit formal to address your friends by their names. You'll either have a nickname or you'll call them their name once and then, you know, you're in the mix. It should suffice just to say you and for everyone to understand, but it doesn't quite work that way. Now, there are some little ways to get around this, but we're going to go on a little tangent before I get there. I grew up in England, and am specifically from a part of the UK renowned for having a terrible accent. I'm from what we refer to as the Black Country. I no longer sound like I come from there because I moved a lot when I was a kid, from Birmingham to the Black Country to Staffordshire, Staffordshire to Australia, and then Australia to France, where I currently live. Et là, il a fallu apprendre le français parce que, quelle surprise, les Français ne parlent pas anglais. I had to learn French, and while learning and using French, I learnt the power of having a plural and a singular noun. In French and in a plethora of other languages such as Spanish, Italian, Dutch, German, and many, many more, the word you exists in many forms. In French, the word you exists in 2 forms. Kind of 3, but I'm not here to teach you French. In French, you have the singular, tu, and the plural, vous. Vous's also used as the singular formal, like we used to have in English with thou, but again, this isn't French class. So, in French, if you were talking to one other person, you would say, veux-tu prendre un verre ce soir? Do you want to get a drink tonight? Or if you're talking to multiple people, voulez-vous prendre un verre ce soir? Do you, plural, want to get a drink tonight? And if you're in a group but just want to talk to one person, you'd turn to them and say, veux-tu prendre un verre ce soir? Do you, singular, want to get a drink tonight? And everyone in the group, even Darren, will understand that you just want to get a drink with that one person. So, why did I tell you about the places I lived before moving to France? Well, in these places, the Black Country and Australia, there's a plural form of you. In the Black Country, we have yams as a plural form of you. We're referred to as yam-yams by people in the UK because of this word. It's not really nice, but that's what we're called. So, in the Black Country, you'd say, am yams going to the pub later? Are you, plural, going to the pub later? And in Australia, you'd say, yous. Do yous want to get a drink? Yous is also used in Ireland and a couple of other countries, but I lived in Australia, so that's my reference. Don't come at me. Hey, Editor Isaac here. I've just woken up in a cold sweat because I realised that I forgot probably the most well-known plural form of the word you that exists. Mainly because I tried to think about the United States as little as possible. But there's the word y'all. Y''all. You all. It's, I don't know how I forgot about it, but it exists as another form of saying you all, or you plural, and if you're American, it's definitely the way to go. If you're English, probably just go with the Irish way of saying yous. Don't go with yam, because that's my thing. I'm not trying to gatekeep, but it's like a very specific Black Country thing. Don't take it. Go with yous. It's more universal. Or y'all. If you want to use y'all, go ahead, but it's definitely more American. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. See you next week. Bye. Now, like in every language, there are a couple of issues when you try and introduce these things, but at least it's something to help you distinguish between the singular and the plural. Going forward, I propose that we adopt these plural forms of the word you and start to take back our language. And more importantly, guarantee that Darren doesn't invite himself on any more of your dates. I'm gonna have a chat to Darren. So, as I hope this video gets at least 2 views, I hope that you've enjoyed. And I hope that you understand better why the English you is weird. If you've really enjoyed, please subscribe, and I'll see you next week with more English Essentials.